Racing to the 2025 Kentucky Derby, and the Bluegrass Stakes is in the books, and the prep season is just about to wrap up. But let's take a look at what went on over the last few days in the Kentucky Derby scene. Of course, Churchill Downs just 25 days away from the Kentucky Derby. The Twin Spires are ready to go. We'll talk about journalism. Test Score could be going to the American Derby on the turf. The Oaks leaders, Rodriguez, Mike Smith, Umberto Rispoli. Also, the 3-year-old pole is out, and Burnham Square winning that Bluegrass Stakes. But we start off at Keeneland on a Tuesday. Chancer McPatrick, the 2-to-1 favorite, making his second start in 2025. He was favored slightly over River Thames, and then getting some support was Burnham Square and also Owen Almighty. But we start off early on in the race. East Avenue gets a flyer from the Axeman, Luan Machado, out of the gate. They go just under 23 seconds for the quarter, just under 47 for the half. East Avenue on the lead with blinkers. Now, as they turn into the stretch, it was still East Avenue leading, and it looked like on the outside, Burnham Square, River Thames, in between those two horses on the inside of Burnham Square, but Burnham Square catches East Avenue right on the line to win the Grade 1 Bluegrass Stakes. Of course, Burnham Square had won the Holy Bull. He'd ran fourth in his last race, the Fountain of Youth, and Ian Wilkes gets Burnham Square to win the Bluegrass Stakes 2025. He'll point to the Kentucky Derby. I think East Avenue will, and River Thames may also have the points if they choose to go in the Kentucky Derby, or they may cut back to the Pat Day Mile. Now, the 2025 3-year-old pole is out for the week. This is from the National Thoroughbred Writers Association. Now, this was before the Bluegrass. You've got journalism leading the way, number 1, Sandman 2, Tappan Street 3, Sovereignty 4, and Rodriguez moves up to number 5, Tistastic number 6. And again, this was before Burnham Square winning the Bluegrass Stakes. Now, Cole Battle, the Rebel winner, he arrived at Churchill Downs, galloping on the main surface. He had a nice workout, 4 furlongs in 48 and 4 for Cole Battle. Of course, third in the Arkansas Derby, he won the Rebel Stakes, and Lonnie Briley starting to tighten the screws beneath the Twin Spires. Now you got Rodriguez, Mike Smith going to have the mount for the Kentucky Derby. Of course, Mike Smith with a couple of Kentucky Derby winners in Giacomo, a 50-to-1 shot, and then he also won with a favorite in Justify, who ended up winning the Triple Crown. Rodriguez winning the Wood Memorial. Interesting to note that Rodriguez did fly back to California rather than go straight to Kentucky. He's going to go back to California, and he'll ship to Churchill Downs in the next couple of weeks for Rodriguez. Now, another horse that is going to be working later on this week is the Louisiana Derby winner. That's Tistastic. Now, 7 inches of rain fell at Churchill Downs in the last 2-3 days over Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So they are going to wait on his workout. Tistastic, of course, winning that Louisiana Derby for trainer Steve Asmussen. Now, Umberto Rispoli is going to be the jockey on journalism in the Kentucky Derby. Of course, he rode him the last 2 races. And of course, Umberto Rispoli, he's excited to get this mount. He's had 2 Kentucky Derby mounts, but they were both 40-to-1 shots. He was on 48-to-1 shot endlessly last year, and Brooklyn Strong at 43-to-1 was his other Kentucky Derby horse. So journalism, he's won 4 in a row. He's won the Del Mar, he won at Los Al, and then he won a couple of stakes races at Santa Anita, a 3-time stakes winner. Now, looking at the final splits for the journalism race, you had 12.32 for the final 8th. That's a good solid final 8th. Now, the final quarter wasn't necessarily that fast, but it wasn't slow either. You're looking for right around 25.6 and less, and both Baeza and journalism were able to accomplish that. So if they too get into the Kentucky Derby off that Santa Anita effort, I think they'll be 2 of the top 12 contenders beneath the Twin Spires. Now, the points situation, still to learn more in the next few days, who's going, who's not going. But here's a look in recent years where the points leaders got into the race. Mugatu got in last year with 14. King Russell in 2023 with 40. Then you had Rattle and Roll with 20 points, Brooklyn Strong with 10, and then Money Moves didn't even need any points, 0 in 2020, the year of COVID, when it was held in September. So still a lot to be determined if Baeza is going to get in. I think he's going to get into the race. We still haven't heard if Flood Zone's officially going. He's got to come back from Dubai, go through quarantine. Built, that's the same owner as Journalism. He's Speed. Journalism comes a little bit off the pace, but they kind of were leaning towards the Pat Day Mile after running in those long races at Fairgrounds. Luxor Cafe, it looks like he's going to come, but until they actually arrive and go through quarantine. And then Neoquos, the third place finisher at Gulfstream in the Florida Derby, they're, you know, if they get in, they may cut back to the Pat Day Mile, they may go to the Woody Stevens, so I'm not so sure Neoquos is entered as well, so we'll see. So I think Baeza definitely will get in. Now, we did have Burnham Square, he'll get in. East Avenue most likely gets in if he wants to. Now, a nice maiden race on Tuesday at Keeneland saw Invictus win the first race at Keeneland. It was his first start of 2025. This was noteworthy just because he ran against Chatzer McPatrick last year as a 2-year-old. That was his only race. And the mare is Serengeti Empress, who won the Kentucky Oaks a few years back. So this one could be a good one. He's buy into mischief, $1.2 million through the yearling sales. The Chunk of Gold caps are available. You can buy your Chunk of Gold Kentucky Derby hats. He is training at Churchill Downs. The $2,500 Preservationist colt is ready to rumble in the Kentucky Derby. We'll see where he gets in. The post positions still to be drawn, but you know, he's run some nice races in Louisiana, got off the synthetic and actually improved on those Turfway Park races. Now, test score looks like he could be going to the American Turf. That's now a grade 1 on Derby Day weekend. He won nicely on Monday at Keeneland, closing down the lane, so we could see him in the American Derby. Lacara, she ended up winning the first points race on the Oaks Trail, the last race on the Oaks Trail. She came out of her race well. Dylan Davis rode her on Monday in the Ashland Stakes. She's got 151 points, and she points to the Kentucky Oaks. The leaderboard still led by Quiet Side with 168. You've got Lacara with 151. Good Cheer, probably the race favorite with 145. Then you've got 5G, Ballerina d'Oro, the Santa Anita Oaks winner in Tenma, and early on rounding out the top 7. Could have as many as 16, 17 horses enter the Oaks with 14 in the starting gate. We've got the Lexington Stakes on Saturday. Post positions will be drawn on April 26th. Pat Day Mile on May 3rd, and the first Saturday in May is May 3rd, the Kentucky Derby. The Pedigree Show comes your way with Jessica Tugwell. We'll go through all 20 horses live on Tuesday, April 29th. If you can't join us live, watch the replay. And Triple Crown Prospectus every Monday through the Belmont Stakes. Sign up free below in the description. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. Support the channel. What did you think of East Avenue and Burnham Square at Keeneland on Tuesday? Who are your Derby horses? Remember, this is the fun time for the next 3 weeks. We can sort through all the data and the trends for the last few years. And D. Wayne Lucas always says, people have opinions, horses have the facts.